Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Genesis Witches deck profile for post-Divine Lightning Radiance. With the release of the newest Cardfight Vanguard set, we were also given new support for the Witch and Sorcerer sub-clan in Cardfight Vanguard for standard format, and the Genesis clan. It's a really awesome deck that focuses on heavy amounts of soul blasting to use with our main grade 3 unit, which is White Rainbow Witch, Perethra. With this one, it is a really fun deck and definitely affordable for those looking to build a budget variant of Genesis for sure. The Fenrir deck I know wasn't too pricey as well, but this is one to definitely consider if you're looking for a different play style for sure. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the grade 3 units, we are running 4 White Rainbow Witch Perethra with this one on Vanguard Circle once per turn. The ability's cost is reduced by Soul Blast 1 for each rearguard with Sorcerer or Witch in its card name you called this turn. And then the main one is Soul Blast 13, and until the end of turn, all of your units with Sorcerer or Witch in their card name get plus 10,000 power, and they also get critical +1. So this is your go-to offensive capability in the deck, just being able to set up a immense powerhouse against your opponent. Just having all that soul built up is the main purpose of all of your other units in the deck. So having this as your main go-to grade 3 especially goes for the basic finish move against your opponent. And with the last ability on the Vanguard Circle being once per turn, counterblast 1 and return one of your rearguards with Sorcerer or Witch in its card name to your hand. So most of the units with Witch and Sorcerer in the deck have abilities when placed. So being able to reuse these abilities after you place the card is a big help for setting up the soul of your main go-to grade 3. With the last of the grade 3s in the deck being the backup support, which is Spiritualist Sorcerer Kraut on Vanguard or rear. When placed, you soul charge 1 for each of your units. So this is the best unit to return with your White Rainbow Witch Perethra, being able to then return it to hand, place again, and then do an additional soul charge. You could potentially get all the cards you need for this card Soul Blast, having all the other ones reduced for the number, but having a full rear guard of Sorcerers and Witches with this card's Soul Blast, and then just be able to then Soul Blast everything and then hit for the big numbers using this card. So really important to have all these cards set up, but it's great just having this as the backup grade 3. It doesn't have Imaginary Gift Force, but it does work on Vanguard as well for the soul charge power, but you still want to have Perethra being the main go-to ride target in the deck, with this card being the bounce and return unit as backup grade 3. Now moving on to the grade 2s, we're also running 4 White Phosphorus Sorcerer Revoluta. On rearguard, when placed, counterblast 1, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck, put 1 card from among them into your hand, and put the rest into your soul. So being a sorcerer, once again, great setup for sure. Just being able to give you hand consistency, so maybe placing the proper grade 3s into your hand for you to use, but then also being able to set up the rest in the soul of, let's say, very important cards on the field. And it's a when placed, so this is also a potential card to be, bounced back to your hand to be replaced again for the counterblast, and then putting more and more cards into your soul to use. With the other 3 that I'm running in the deck, I run 3 Witch of 10,000 Turtles, Caper. On rearguard during your turn, if your Vanguard has 3 or more force markers, this unit gets boost and plus 10,000 power. So with it, you have the option most of the time, with the critical power being taken care of by Perethra, you may want to just add a little more, plus power with force marker 1 on your Vanguard Circle. So being the ideal way to play the deck, then you can use Caper as an additional boost and, just boosted power unit on your rearguard circle. And counting as Witch is another big plus for sure when using this card. For the last of the grade 2s, the grade 1s are definitely the most important part of the deck, but I just want a little more soul power for the grade 2 lineup. I'm running 2 Battle Maiden, Sahohime. On rearguard when placed, you counterblast 1, soul blast 2, draw 2 cards, put 1 card from them into your hand, into your soul, and then increase this unit's power and shield by the unit put into the soul until end of turn. So it's just more setup for the deck. I'm not running too many big numbers of this card. I just wanted additional backup to the more important Witch cards that we're running in the deck for sure. But but with the Witch and Sorceress taken care of, Battlemane and Sahohime just, provides a little more extra backup for this soul setup early game, and just giving us more and more search power for very important cards in the deck. And that is it for the grade 2s. We are running a pretty big grade 1 count, but the Witches for the grade 1s are definitely some of the most important for the playstyle. So we're running 4 Spring Source Witch, Fixus, I believe is how you pronounce it, with this one on Vanguard or Rear. If you and your opponent's Vanguards have the same grade, you may Soul Blast 1 for this cost. When placed, Counterblast 1. Look at 4 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 card with Sorcerer or Witch in its card name. Put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. It's search powered, searching for the top 4 cards of your deck. And the fact that this card can be used on Vanguard Circle as well is the big plus for sure when using it. Just having this, the search power, and also for the fact that you might not be at Counterblast power, the Soul Blast 1 comes in handy for that setup. Just being able to then search for the proper card depending on what ride target you may want for all the upcoming cards. And since we're running a lower grade 2 count, this search power especially comes in handy to make sure we actually have a grade 2 ride target to use. I also run 4 of the new supportive sorcerer communists with this one on Vanguard. When placed, put a card from your hand into your soul and draw a card. So being a sorcerer card is just good draw power, setting up the soul, but also keeping your hand consistent for more important cards you may have. And on rear guard, when placed, you can soul charge 1 if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater. Soul charge 1, and one of your Vanguards gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So just more and more soul charge power with this card. It's also, once again, another when placed skill, so you can place it, use your Vanguard to return to hand, place it again, and you have 4 soul charges right then and there. You can really build the soul up quite easily with this deck. So using the Vanguard's main go-to skill is very, very easy with all of this soul charge power we have. More of that also coming from the next grade 1, which is Witch of Frogs, Marissa. On rear, when placed from hand, you soul blast 3. Your opponent looks at the same number of cards on the top of his or her deck, and then with those cards, and call them as her number of rear guards, and calls them to rear with units and shuffles their deck. Your opponent also abilities do not activate from this call. So this one more is a disruption with all the different cards your opponent may have. Basically, just using that Soul Blast, which, like I said, you can build a pretty good number of soul for this card, but you're also reducing the number. So even if we do hit this number, you have enough soul to use with other cards, and being able to disrupt your opponent's, rear guard setup is a big plus there for sure. Taking care of interceptors, you name it, and then just making sure they go through their deck that much faster. With the last of the grade 1s being 4 Witch of Pure White Clary. With this one, on rear, when it attacks or the attack it boosted hits, you may soul charge 3. So this is definitely one of the most powerful grade 1s we have in the deck. It's pressure early game as well. Just being able to attack with this, your opponent might try to guard it, since you'll have an easy soul charge 3. If you get multiple of it into your hand, you have the option to attack, boost, you name it, and then just set up more and more soul using this card with the deck. So you definitely want to run 4 ofs for all the different grade 1s. There is, you can debate dropping Melissa for maybe less numbers of this if you want to increase your grade 2 count, but that comes down to player preference at that point. And that is it for the grade 1s. We'll now move on to the grade 0s. For the starter, we're running the newest one, which is Incipient Long Tail. Not really focusing much for the Witch's skill. It still builds up the soul since it's not a Forerunner skill, being standard format, but still, draw power and giving you the quick shield unit when you ride on this card. Now, for the trigger lineup, very, very interesting trigger lineup at that. I am running, I wanted to ideally run at least 8 draw triggers, so it depends on the lineup for your Sentinel that you're running. But I have 4 White Emperor Witch Perzeno and 4 Talisman Angel. Now, we do have a lot of investment into the soul, but with it, we have our Vanguard and its power and critical abilities, making this the pressure for against our opponent. So you want to focus on these units for the draw consistency to your hand. Some of them just sift through your deck and not really have focus on those plays. But with these cards, you basically have your setup right then and there to go for, giving you more and more hand cards, and ideally more and more cards to help build up your soul, since a lot of them focus on just when placed abilities. With the Sentinel lineup then falling to either the, next 4 critical lineup, which it can be the new Stake Fetter Thviti if you want the additional critical option, but I like to run the 4 Goddess of Self-Sacrifice Kushinada, having the guaranteed Sentinel to guard against your opponent with this card in the deck. So like I said, ideally I would like to run 12 draw draw triggers in total, with Kushinada being the last one for the spot if you have them. If not, if you're going for more of a budget setup, you can run the Stake Fetter Thviti instead in her spot. But once again, player preference depending on what you want your trigger lineup to be. And then lastly, being a Witch for the Genesis, not running the new heal trigger, but the old Witch of Big Pots, Laurier, being the fact that it is a Witch card, so being able to work with all of our other different cards for each of our units, and then just the additional Sorcerer, and the fact that it has Witch in its name, works very, very well with White Rainbow Witch Perethra. So, like I said, for your main go-to setup in the deck, you want to focus on Perethra as your Vanguard, and then having the additional Witch units on your field, depending on what they may be. You'll have the majority of them being your setup as well. So when you have these on placed, if you place your additional Sorcerer Kraut, let's say you have just no cards in your soul. When placed, you soul charge 1 for each of your units, and this includes this unit. So having those units for the option to soul blast for each one of your units, that's 6 cards right then and there. So you'll soul charge 6. I know the cards are organized, but then you'll be able to use your Perethra skill, counterblasting 1, to return it to hand, then placing it again, and then giving you an additional soul charge of 6. So that sets up the 12 in your soul just like that, with this card just being, like I said, able to, when placed, soul charge 1 for each of your units, including this unit. That is the power right there that this deck definitely relies on. Then just being able to soul blast less for each one means that you'll have the additional 3 in your soul if you do want to call out your Witch of Frogs, Marissa. But this has to have a full field setup to fully use this card. And then, like I said, go for the Onslaught, having the additional critical power and plus power of your Vanguard. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Definitely been doing a lot of different ones from the Divine Lightning Radiance set, but I hope you all have been enjoying them. I'm definitely looking forward to the new upcoming set as well, and the Sanctuary Guard Dragon deck as well, a new trial deck. So for Royal Paladins, that'll be a lot of fun as well. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.